Dobre Utra. Guten Morgen. Good morning, everybody. Yes, what is it? 8th of April. It's just right after 8 o'clock, and it's still cold here. I wonder who turned the heat off. Anyway, there was one subscriber, a new subscriber, and he's, I guess, into trucking, so close by where I live, Nidelako Ot, Riadam Su, Druk Shagak, everything that means blisko, everything that means close by. So this is close by where I'm at, and this is the truck factory. Altazavut, Ulica Centralnia, that's the Central Street. Well, it's called Central Street. It doesn't look like a central street, it's just a little road. And anyway, this is where they make, well, the main factory. I think they have other factories. They're all in the area. Maybe there's it's actually huge. I think this was opened up right after World War II. So they didn't make tanks or anything like that in World War II. But I think it was like I said, 1948. And yeah, they make buses and all sorts of trucks, and they're entered into contests that win a lot of the time, like in Africa and all that, for heavy moving and really huge, massive trucks, things like that. And of course, this is just something on display, probably some old truck, maybe a few years old. I have no, 5 years old, 10, I have no idea. I've been inside there. They have a museum, and matter of fact, they even go in English. It's kind of dark. It's probably somewhat different. Oh, these damn trucks are following me everywhere. It's a little bit, I don't know, did I do that? Anyway, here's like a little bus, actually pretty nice. You know, a little bus like that, easy to maneuver, good for Asia, all that sort of thing. Over there, if you guys can see that. It's too much freaking traffic. For such a little road, but it's, yeah, here's the symbol of that. Like I said, there's a new subscriber. He's somehow into trucking and all that, so I thought I would, you know, walk by here. Looks like they're doing some kind of renovation on this building here, or whatever. I have no idea what. This is one of the entrances, I guess. There's no place to walk here. I don't want to walk over there. Guy giving me some kind of weird looks. And here's some, you know, they honor people here that are, you know, that accomplish things probably a lot more than they do in the West, especially in the United States. You know when you're a veteran or whatever, they have Soldier of the Month boards and all that kind of stuff. And then when you get out of the military, they basically kick your butt in the backside and say, you know, your usefulness to us is gone, so get the heck out of here. You go to the veterans hospitals, can't get in, way too many people, they don't have enough doctors, far away, you got to drive forever, all kinds of problems. But anyway, here they do things a little bit better. They actually take care of their people. So these are probably, you know, lots of people that they're honoring. Look at this, right by the main entrance. So, you know, give you something to strive for. They take care of people a lot better over here in these countries. I have to say that. It's really sad about the United States. You know, and Donald Trump, of course, said he wants to change that. I don't know if he has or not, but there's ways that people get over, you know, they cheat the system. And I was even actually said, oh, have you ever had some aches and pains? Maybe you can get a bunch of money. And of course, there's a lot of people over here. I'm not saying that they're cheaters or nothing, but half of them that I know, unfortunately, are people that are like, I don't know, 30 years old, and they're retired with disability things from the United States military or the government or something like that. Like I said, I'm not ragging on these people. I don't know their circumstances, but they're all very young, and they get over $2,000 a month, which is a huge amount of money over here in Belarus. So they're retired at, I don't know, 30 years old, getting a big paycheck, you know, which, what is like $2,000 a month is maybe, I don't know, what's it like, 4,000, 5,000 in the United States? And then you see people a lot of time, depending on where they're at, that they, no matter how much money they get, they complain. They get $10,000 a month. There's one guy, and he says he can't live on that. Was somewhere in New York. Yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you what, I don't get any money, nothing, zero. I'm still kind of living on savings, but I could live easily here, easily, with 2,000 rubles a month, rubles, which is a lot less than $2,000. What is it? Maybe, I don't know, like $700 a month. I could live here. I own an apartment, so you know, sometimes you might have to worry if you have some big expense item, you know, you'd have to save some money. I'm really good at all that kind of stuff, always been in my lifetime. So, you know, you always have to try to save. If you don't try to save something, you know, you're actually kind of being stupid. A lot of people live paycheck to paycheck, you know, and sometimes maybe you're forced to do that. I saw a video with Irish partisan. He was talking to a Scottish guy in Moscow, and I guess it was here in Minsk. They went somewhere and they were, Irish partisan was talking about how bad things are, of course, in Dublin. Everything's really expensive there. He was one time talking about, you know, you pay your rent and you get a bed. You get a bed for 12 hours a day. And the bed is used by somebody else on the other 12 hours a day. Things are so friggin' expensive over there. And so, you know, that's just to make it. And then you see places like in Oakland where there's doctors, medical doctors, that have been working quite a few years, and they live in like mobile shacks or something like that, in places where there's actually a lot of people practically homeless, you know, people living in tents and things like that, and they can't hardly make it. I don't know, rest of the world, but I tell you what, then there's people here in Belarus, they complain. I don't really know what they're complaining about. A lot of people, they try to give people the minimum, you know, to survive, have a roof over your head, get food, medical care, all that sort of thing. So I don't know, not much to complain about. Anyway, let's get into the news. This is going to be a short video, in spite of me chattering blah 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 all this right now. So yeah, it's really another thing. Let me chatter a little bit more. I got like, what is it, 5 subscribers? I don't know if I did anything special in these past videos or whatever, and the views aren't really that high, and it's really strange. Sometimes you get a lot more views, and for like, hey, nearly 2 weeks you get no new subscribers, and then all of a sudden in a couple days you get like 5 or something. I have no idea what that's all about. Anyway, enough of the chatter. You guys want to hear the news. So in the news, there's not that much really overwhelming at the moment. Trump, he has stated that if China does not end their retaliatory 34% tariffs, that he will add another 50% onto that, you know. So he's determined to win. And I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, China is actually, you know, they want a deal all the time, and so does Russia all the time. A lot of countries are like that. I'll get to Ursula von der Leyen too in a little bit here. But anyway, so they don't have anything against, you know, trying to bend a little bit, these other countries. But you know, the United States and how their politics works is, you have to be the tough guy. You have to show that we're tough. We're tougher than everybody else. And we're going to push you, and you do what the United States says or else. You know, that's how it always is. And Donald Trump is even extreme in that way. And so who knows what's going to happen. What's going to happen with that? If China really wanted to, of course, they could get together with a couple other people and do a hell of a lot of destruction to the United States, economically anyway, and maybe in a lot of other ways. Maybe not militarily, of course. Maybe so. I guess in the long term, make no mistake, in the long term, China could wipe out the United States militarily. They have a lot, much bigger productive capacity, and that's exactly what through the United States, beyond the line in World War II, is because they had tremendous production capacity, you know, when they helped Europe. And but the real truth is, as you guys all, anybody that watches this channel knows, and a lot of intelligent people know, that who won World War II? It was Russia. Russia is the one that defeated Nazi Germany. It was not the United States. It was Russia. Russia is the one that went into Berlin. And it was, of course, a combined effort, but mainly Russia. And Russia sacrificed a lot. I mean, I shouldn't say Russia, I should say the Soviet Union, because actually, in truth, as far as a country, when you look at the countries and say, well, who sacrificed the most, you would have to say that it's Belarus. So look at a lot of people, workers or students. There's these schools. So this truck factory place, they have a huge amount of things. This is you know, something that belongs to them as well, probably learning engineering, things like that, also part of the school. And it goes even beyond this. Looks like there's even a pharmacy there. So, but it's, and there's even things inside of Minsk as well, downtown. Okay, but anyway, let's keep going. Okay, 34% tariffs. Already talked about that. I don't know. I'll tell you what, if China really wants to win, they will win, I think. And people are talking about how the stock markets have, in effect, crashed, and a lot of people are saying, oh, there's going to be a recession. Larry Fink, who's the CEO of BlackRock, said we're already in a recession, the United States, meaning the United States, and Donald Trump said, oh, don't worry about it, don't worry, smile, be happy, all that kind of stuff. So who knows? And a lot of people saying how bad the economics are, but Trump's trying to mask that out, and he might be right. I don't know. Maybe it's gonna get worse before it gets better. And he said sometimes you have to take medicine. I don't know. A lot of people are saying things. I think Peter Schiff is saying in the long term we're going to have inflation. Donald Trump came out and said there is no inflation. We have this and this and this, which is not good news, but there is no inflation. And it's not like it's going to happen in 2 days. So he initiated these things on the 2nd of April. So there's no way that it's going to show anyway 4 days later. I mean, it takes a while. So he might just be, giving bedside manner encouragement talk at the moment that has no meaning. I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. We'll just sit back and watch. That's all I can say. Okay, Netanyahu is in the United States right now. And, it's sort of weird. These people, Donald Trump and him, Donald Trump, looks like a waiter, the maitre d', he's pushing in Netanyahu's chair again. He comes in, let me push your chair in for you, massa. And then you have Netanyahu playing, we're so humble, like Uriah Heep, like Zelensky, we're so humble, master, we're so humble, while he's fleecing the firm and all. I mean, these people, these two, I'll tell you what, you just look at this relationship. Russia, not the Russia and the U.S., but I meant Israel and the U.S. And, I have more of a feeling for it. I can't really put it out, but it's like in a lot of ways, Israel definitely has control over the United States. And then Donald Trump is trying to act tough, and, I would hope that he could rise above it, but anyway, it's a whole topic. I don't want to talk about it right now. But Netanyahu, while they were there sitting around like they were with Zelensky, remember when Zelensky was trying to use the media to get the Americans and the entire world on his side, which didn't work too well. Trump and Vance actually shoved it down his throat. Especially Vance. You come in here, basically Vance is saying you're trying to pull these tricks on us, and be so humble, Uriah Heep, oh sorry, Mr. Macabre, and all that kind of crap. If you guys read David Copperfield, it's a huge long book, unfortunately, but you have to see who Uriah Heep is. Anyway, that's what I like to talk to these guys about. Anyway, Netanyahu's acting like he's feathering up and to Donald Trump, one time one guy's on his knees and the other time the other guy is on his knees doing the circus seal on each other. Boy, these people. And Hegseth was there, and he said, if the Houthis don't do what we tell them to do, if they try to get in the way of Israel bombing the crap and killing up all those Palestinians, then we're gonna escalate this, And obviously the moral high ground of anybody that has two working brain cells, it is with the Houthis. Netanyahu wants to ethnically cleanse, no matter how he can do it, kick these people out, massacre them, and tens of thousands of people just to get rid of them so they could take over. Donald Trump says, we're going to own Gaza. Well, then why is it that Israel is moving into Gaza and taking places if the United States is supposed to own it? I don't know. These guys are just a bunch of joker clowns, and you don't really know the truth about what is going on with these people. And I doubt very, very much that the United States is going to own Gaza. I don't know. You never know. Donald Trump might have a trick up his sleeve. You don't know what they talk about behind closed doors. Do you think Netanyahu doesn't want that? I mean, what's the whole idea anyway of going after for many, many decades for trying to kill and get rid of these Palestinians? So, yeah. So, and what's the United States got to do with it? You know, first, it was actually the Houthis trying to block a lot of trade going into Israel, you know, with this shipping, and then of course a lot of this stuff went overland, it went even through Saudi Arabia instead of going by ship. So they should be happy. They're still getting things. And why did the United States have to go into it? Well, they're, you know, because Israel told them to, and Israel owns the United States Congress, amongst other things. They own a lot of other things too. I'll tell you what, they own a lot of the media. And you all know that they have a lot of control in Hollywood. I mean, the list goes on and on. Why do we need to talk about that? So, okay. And Trump, around this meeting too, is still crying about the EU trade. Ursula von der Leyen is saying, oh, well, we'll go to zero tariffs. We'll go 0-0. Somebody's putting some notes. You know, you watch out for this witch. She's got fangs, you know, she'll come and do some crap. Ursula von der Leyen, none of these people are to be trusted anyway. It's almost not even worth watching the friggin' news with these deceptive, lying, cheating, corrupt people, you know. And I'm not really actually including Trump. Trump at least comes right out and does stuff. He's got his little things going on, but a lot of things that Trump is not, that these other politicians are. So I wouldn't deal. I think Trump knows that. He doesn't want to deal with Ursula von der crazy. You know, the Chinese don't, nobody does. Everybody has got her number, except for maybe some of these people that are, who knows, why did the European Parliament vote her to be in charge? And I'm not saying the people did, because the people didn't. It's not a democracy. You know, she's running the show in that way. Kaya Kallas acts like she has some kind of control. You know, she's a brain dead whatever, just like Baerbock. Who would put these people in charge? Who would trust these people? Nobody. It makes you wonder who really runs the show. There's some people there, not these insane lunatics. Donald Trump even calls them that. So, yeah, okay. Oh, also, well, no, that was yesterday. I was going to talk about the Belarus finding this thing, but Belarus, you know, it makes you wonder. The Belarus are the bad guys, you know, and they're not. There's no. You know, we got Buicks here. Matter of fact, here's a French car. There's a French car over there. I've showed you guys this stuff many times. There's a German car right there, and it's not just Chinese cars. We got a lot of Chinese cars. I just thought of this right here at the moment. Look at all this kind of stuff, you know. And this one here's a Ford. It's an American car right there. Another French car. Who knows? These are all, I don't know. You can just go down the list. Volkswagen, Citroën. That's a Citroën. If a lot of you guys maybe don't know what that is, in French car. Sometimes they make really economically competitive cars. So anyway, let's go on. Oh, there's a Russian car over there. And you guys see these old stinker cars with a lot of smoke coming out of the back. I think that's what Russian cars are like. But you know, this one here is probably not even a new car. It's probably a few years old. But see, look at it. You know, it's much different than what you're seeing. Even a lot of bloggers, they even show you these old stinker cars. It's just because they're nostalgic and they want to look at them. But these people, they should show some of those new cars as well. So here's a Mercedes over there. There's an Opel. There's a Renault. Another Renault. There's a Volkswagen. There's another Mercedes. There's another Russian car over there. See? But no, the Belarusians are the bad guys. They're not even importing our cars. I mean, come on, you know. Trump might even say that. You know, he's going after the European Union and everybody. They don't even import our stuff, so we got a trade imbalance and all that kind of stuff. Well, then how come Belarus are the bad guys, you know, when they're doing all that? You know, they're importing all these cars. Of course, they don't have. Matter of fact, there are cars now made in Belarus. You know, a Chinese firm. So, okay. And one thing that Donald Trump said with Netanyahu that it was really surprising, and you know, it was right there. He looked a little uncomfortable when he said it, but and he, what did he said? Oh, it's about right after that. He said, "Yeah, we give Israel $4 billion every year," which is true. They give them $4 billion every year, and he said, "Oh, congratulations." He said that to Netanyahu right after he said that. You know, so that was kind of daring. That was daring. I didn't expect that from anybody in the U.S. government admitting something like that. And, you know, Netanyahu acted like he didn't say it. You know, he just said, okay, that's a natural thing. But it's not just the $4 billion. I'll tell you what, They give Israel practically every single year, probably around $10 billion. It's just the $4 billion is the guaranteed that they get every year for many, 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 many decades. By the way, this might have been made in made in Belarus. It's I think that Geely, that's a Chinese car. So I could just sit here, go down the line and show you all of these things. Here's a Buick. Here's a Buick car right here. American car. You know, what's this one here? Lada? Oh, it's a Russian little service van, mom's mini wagon. Here's a Ford, Volkswagen, another Volkswagen, another French car. So keep going down the line. Okay. But anyway, so you talk about this $4 billion. Well, I'll tell you what, and you guys probably know this. They give Israel much more than that $4 billion in all kinds of other ways. You know, so the $4 billion is the small amount. How much do they give them in weapons and bombs every single year? You know, bombs, they give billions, many billions. They do so much for Israel, and Israel never has to pay it back. Oh, look, a Japanese car, a Land Cruiser. I used to have a Toyota 4Runner. Look at there's a lot of German cars. Look at this, Volkswagen. Deutschland. So, Trump was also, he was mentioning some sort of a meeting between U.S. and Israel, and he said that they're talking with, no, gosh, why do I do this all the time? With the United States and Iran. And he said they're talking now or something. Oh, there's some negotiations and things going on right now. And the fact of the matter is they're not. The supreme leader, as he's called, Khomeini in Iran, says, no, there isn't. We're not talking to them right now at all. There is no talk whatsoever. And Trump already pulled that a few other times, said he's talking to Russia when he wasn't talking to Russia. Russia came out and said, no, we haven't been talking to them. This is before this meeting in Riyadh and all that. So I don't know why Trump says this kind of stuff. So it's not like Trump doesn't lie. He certainly lies, but I don't know. It's not that they're not big lies like some of these other, leaders do. So, however, according to the New York Times, when they do meet in Oman, I think, what is that? When is that? Oh, let's see. Do I have the date here? I maybe forgot that. It's Saturday in Oman. And New York Times, they are saying that they're not even going to be in the same room. So there is going to be some sort of a talk between Iran and the United States in different rooms. So they're not even going to be seeing each other face to face. So it's very strange. But you never know. Anything can change. It can change at any time. And it's this talk. And Iran keeps saying, we don't have a nuclear weapons program. And you can just sense Israel behind there, And who knows what Netanyahu said? Yes, they're. I don't think he can keep beating this dead horse. Keep beating this dead horse and say, Iran is 2 weeks away from having a nuclear bomb. He's been putting that up for decades. Decades he's been saying that. Iran is 2 weeks away from having a nuclear weapon. And I don't know. It's Donald Trump. Anybody would have to be incredibly stupid to buy practically anything coming out of Netanyahu's mouth. Netanyahu, how many times has he said that? Oh, I guarantee you when you take out Iran, there will be peace in the entire Middle East and all. He said so many things. All of it is nothing but BS. The guy is just full of it. He may as well be Zelensky. These two are a pair. It's shocking. It's shocking that these people get away with this stuff. And you get these charlatans, I tell you what, I wouldn't even meet with the guy. I would say, send me somebody who's got a little shred of honesty. And you don't even have to, like you said, you don't even have to meet with these guys. Just watch what they do. And then you make your dealings from that. You can have any dealings with them over the telephone. It's not worth talking to these guys. I tell you what. I don't know. You guys know this. I know that. I'll tell you what, Elon Musk is no dummy. He knows this stuff too. A lot of time he has to play stupid a lot of the time too. But he's a lot smarter. He's just not really a politician type of guy. I think his father even said that. But anyway, that's all we have to say about that sort of a thing. Anyway, I I guess that's about it. Like I said, it's going to be a short video, and I have to upload this. I started a little bit later today, and you know, when you do these videos, you got to keep talking really fast. And I'm thinking a lot more. Also, what I'm, you know, my trips. I'm thinking, well, can I get to the Donbass? They may not. Well, they might take me down in that area, and of course, I will be in the Donbass, but I don't know how close they're going to let me get to those places, and that's going to possibly be. I'll try to be doing that in maybe about 3 weeks. And there's a guy I can probably go down there with and get into the area. I saw him yesterday, but I wasn't talking about that. I don't know, maybe I can see him again in the next few weeks. So we'll see. And I can probably get down there if I really want to push the issue. But anyway, that's all I have to say for right now. And thanks for joining me. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.